Hey everyone, it's Monday, February 2nd, 2026. We are in February. Can you believe it? I was going to bed last night, Sunday, and I always like to look at the Asian markets when they're opening and the US futures, stock futures were down really sharply, like 1.5% plus already. And it just made me remember that I definitely would advise not to trade in after hours. Look, it's a thin market. Do yourself a favor. Do work with the real price discovery and the pros in the normal market hours. You'll get better prices, you'll make more money. Enough said with that. So today, Monday, the S&P and the Nasdaq were both down, up about 0.5%. So it was a green day. And oil was down about 4.5%. That was after a couple of things. Mostly, they're saying now you'll hear that it was about the Iran nuclear talks with the United States, which are scheduled for Friday. Yeah, we'll see if that really happens. But it was really about the OPEC plus countries agreeing not to change their production levels. That's when the oil really fell, started to fall pre-market. And so oil was down 4.5%. And Oracle announced $50 billion debt and equity raise. And the thing that is so interesting about that is, of course, Oracle, to me, and OpenAI are the two companies, well, two of the companies that are really representative of the AI trade. And Oracle is not only doing a debt raise, but they are actually going to issue equity, going to sell stock to do this, which for a company that mature and that big it's unusual. And so that's a concern for me. And I will sum it up like this. I am not concerned about artificial intelligence. It is real. It's amazing. And the transformation and the investment into it, yes, it's going to be overbuilt. But I'm not worried about the big companies like Google and Microsoft and Nvidia and all that kind of stuff and Broadcom. But Oracle and OpenAI, OpenAI is not public yet. They have raised $1.5 trillion and have, really just maybe 20 billion in revenue, and then Oracle is in the red. And so those two companies I am concerned about. So we'll see what happens with that. Not concerned about the overall AI trade and investment, but more about those two companies, specifically OpenAI. If anything were to happen there, that what would the market do? So just a side thought. Uh, the word of the day and maybe the word of the year is volatility, like we talked about in the last two videos. Volatility, I am ready for it. As a trader, there's good money to be made in volatility. Look, I have to get up every day and figure out how to make the money. That's the exciting part and the challenge. And whatever market is put in front of me, that's what I have to work with, just like you. But volatility can be treacherous and it can be rewarding as well. But absolutely a volatile start to the year. And it goes along with our administration, quite frankly, that you never know what is going to come out of the White House, and the market swings already at the end of last year and the first month in January this year have been pretty extreme. So again, today, more volatility. This time, again, following up on Friday, the precious metals, silver, gold. Silver was down 15% and pre-market. And in 5 hours, I'm sorry, it was down 8%. It swung back up to a plus of 7. So there was a 15% swing in a matter of 5 hours right before the market opened. And just crazy, just absolutely crazy, 15% as well. Bitcoin was down 10%, over 10% pre-market as well, down to 75,000 for Bitcoin. And so these are really, risk on indicators. and risk indicators that are look at that volatility. It's crazy. The thing about it, though, for me, I'm juxtaposing it with the VIX, the VIX index, which is commonly called the fear factor, and we've talked about it. It is basically a pricing based on options about what the market thinks the S&P 500, how much it's going to swing in the next 30 days, in the next month. Um, and it's annualized out, but basically a low VIX means they're not thinking it's going to do a whole lot of volatility. And the VIX was actually down today over 6%. So pre-market, you've got silver and gold making massive, crazy swings, and Bitcoin, same thing. And there were other stocks too that made crazy moves. But the fear factor, the VIX, finished the day down over 6%, down into the low 16 range, which is very calm, very calm. And so to me, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between what the market's doing and what I'm seeing as of the start of the year and what that VIX is saying about the mindset and in my mind the complacency of the market. That they're maybe a little complacent and a little bit in denial about how treacherous the market is acting and could be acting. So just something to keep in mind whenever I see a disparity between indicators such as that. I really do take notice. And so something else was a Wall Street Journal article about NVIDIA and Jensen Huang, who is the CEO of NVIDIA, and he was over in Asia for the last number of days, week or so, and Jensen was heard saying and reported by the Journal, and the Journal, they're legit. They do deep research, and they really don't print it unless it's true. But he was making a comment about about OpenAI, and the quote is, their lack of discipline with their business strategy, unquote, is concerning. And uh, and that being said, NVIDIA has a $100 billion investment planned with OpenAI. And they've paced it out according to power delivery and it's going to be, but just the fact that if it's true, and I absolutely believe it is, that Jensen Huang is saying that the business strategy, the discipline in executing that business strategy of OpenAI is a concern for him. Again, that goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show, and that is that OpenAI really could be an issue. I mean, these language models are, in my mind, we've talked about this, that they are going to be a commodity, and they kind of already are. And look at Google. They've got Gemini, which is amazing. It consistently ranks at the top of these large language models in terms of accuracy and depth and follow-up and all of that. And OpenAI, I have to say, it comes in behind, at this point in time, behind Claude, behind uh, Perplexity, and of course we can get into the whole Chinese and language models and what they're doing with DeepSeek and the absolute fraction of a cost. But so OpenAI, I just have my concerns, and Jensen Huang from NVIDIA voiced his concerns as well. So I really want to keep an eye on that. I thought that was important to share as well. And the last thing is that Elon Musk announced that SpaceX and xAI, which is his sort of venture into AI and language model, that SpaceX and xAI are going to merge before uh, SpaceX has its IPO later this year. And so he's merging those two, and the IPO is expected this year in 2026. And the market is murmuring that it is going to be the largest ever IPO, initial public offering when a company comes public, that it's going to be the largest ever. And they're estimating it's somewhere around $1.5 trillion with a T, $1.5 trillion. So kind of interesting. We'll see about that, but I just thought that was interesting as well. All right, so there you go for Monday. Happy February, everyone. I can't believe we are off and going into 2026. And as always, wear your belts and suspenders and be very careful with your money. You know what I always say, before you ever think about making money, always think about how you're not going to lose it. Play defense first. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. I will see you soon. Hope you had a great weekend. Cheers.